In the early 1800s, the United States was still a young nation. Its western border reached only as far as the Mississippi River. Beyond that lay a vast territory known as Louisiana, stretching from the Gulf of Mexico to Canada and from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains. This land belonged to France, under the rule of Napoleon Bonaparte. At first, the Louisiana Territory had been claimed by France, then transferred to Spain after the French and Indian War in 1762. But in 1800, France secretly regained control under the Treaty of San Ildefonso. When news of this reached President Thomas Jefferson, he grew deeply concerned. A powerful France controlling the Mississippi River and the port of New Orleans could threaten American trade and Western expansion. New Orleans was crucial. It was the gateway for American farmers to ship goods down the Mississippi and out to the world. If France decided to block that route, it could strangle the economy of the Western territories. In 1801 and 1802, Jefferson sent diplomats to France to negotiate for the purchase of New Orleans and nearby lands. But events in Europe began to shift rapidly. Napoleon, who dreamed of building a North American empire, faced a disastrous revolt in Haiti, a French colony in the Caribbean. His army was losing thousands of soldiers. In 1803, President Jefferson sent James Monroe to join Robert Livingston, the U.S. minister to France, with a mission to buy New Orleans and parts of Florida for up to $10 million. But to their surprise, French officials offered something much larger: the entire Louisiana Territory. Napoleon's ministers, Charles Talleyrand and François de Barbé-Marbois, proposed selling all of Louisiana, about 828,000 square miles of land, for $15 million. It was an enormous sum, but it meant the United States could double its size overnight. Livingston and Monroe were astonished. They had no direct authorization from Jefferson to buy such a massive area. But they realized how rare the opportunity was. On April 30th, 1803, they signed the Louisiana Purchase Treaty in Paris. The price came to about 4 cents per acre, a deal so extraordinary that even Jefferson's critics later called it the greatest real estate bargain in history. When news reached America, reactions were mixed. Many citizens celebrated the expansion, but others, especially members of the Federalist Party, criticized the purchase. They argued it was unconstitutional, since the Constitution did not explicitly give the president power to buy new territory. Jefferson, a strict constitutionalist, also struggled with this issue, but he ultimately decided that the Louisiana Purchase transformed the United States. Overnight, the country's size doubled, adding fertile plains, forests, mountains, and rivers that would later become 15 new states. Jefferson soon commissioned an expedition to explore this new territory. In 1804, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark set out on their famous journey, the Lewis and Clark Expedition, to map the land, study its resources, and establish relations with Native American tribes. Their journey from St. Louis to the Pacific Ocean opened the way for settlers, traders, and explorers. Economically, the Louisiana Purchase gave the U.S. control of the Mississippi River and the port of New Orleans, vital for commerce and trade. It secured the nation's agricultural future and encouraged migration westward. Politically, it strengthened Jefferson's presidency and symbolized America's growing confidence on the world stage. However, it also brought new challenges, including disputes with Native peoples, questions about slavery in the new territories, and the long process of organizing and governing such a vast area. Still, the Louisiana Purchase remains one of the most significant moments in American history. It reflected the spirit of opportunity, ambition, and expansion that would shape the nation for centuries to come. By the time Jefferson left office, Americans could look westward across a land of almost limitless potential. And it all began with one bold decision in 1803.